Well, right now, the country is nearing a potential inflection point as ICE raids to deport undocumented migrants and protest efforts to disrupt them both escalate nationwide. Earlier this week, the federal government rolled out a new recruiting effort. They're offering $50,000 signing bonuses, student loan forgiveness, and enhanced retirement benefits as they try to entice 10,000 new agents to join ICE's ranks. Their mission, according to the DHS press release, is to target the worst of the worst.
Militares contra inmigrantes. Señores, Donald Trump quiere convertir a la Fuerza Armada en su fuerza de policía personal. Y ojo que no lo digo yo, lo dicen los documentos internos del Departamento de Seguridad Nacional. Lo peor de todo, que ya lo están haciendo. Por si fuese poco, ICE, la agencia de deportaciones, ahora se está robando policías locales, como si fueran cromos de colección, ofreciéndole bonos gigantes solo para abandonar sus comunidades. El país dividido, la democracia en peligro.
Well, right now, the country is nearing a potential inflection point as ICE raids to deport undocumented migrants and protest efforts to disrupt them both escalate nationwide. Earlier this week, the federal government rolled out a new recruiting effort. They're offering $50,000 signing bonuses, student loan forgiveness, and enhanced retirement benefits as they try to entice 10,000 new agents to join ICE's ranks. Their mission, according to the DHS press release, is to target the worst of the worst. But recent raids show them targeting cooks, grocery store clerks, even teenagers. On Wednesday, 11 workers were detained in the middle of their shifts at a pair of Mexican restaurants in Kansas City. It happened so fast, one witness says the burners on one of the stoves were left on. In New York, multiple employees were arrested at a popular Asian food market outside of Buffalo, forcing that market to shut down for the day. The store's attorney says it was targeted simply because it's an immigrant-owned business. But in the face of those kinds of raids, resistance is also growing. In New Haven, 150 people rallied in support of an 18-year-old high school junior who was swept up in a workplace raid and transferred to a massive immigration facility nearly 1,500 miles south in Louisiana. From coast to coast, volunteer groups are popping up to warn people when ICE might be coming. Here's what one man told our own Morgan Radford.
If there is someone being detained, we take their information, we let them know their rights, and then we try to provide a safety net around their family.
It's the kind of resistance just chronicled by the New York Times columnist and MSNBC political analyst Michelle Goldberg, who joins me now, along with James Sample, law professor at Hofstra. Good to have both of you here. Michelle, when the administration announced this recruiting push and that the budget was going to go from about $8 billion to $27.7 billion, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said in a press release this is a defining moment in our nation's history. And I wonder if you think it is on both sides.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's the only thing that Kristi Noem has ever said that I agree with her about. I do think this is a defining moment in our nation's history. What we have are men in civilian clothes and masks who often refuse to show ID, who are grabbing people off the streets and throwing them into the back of vehicles. They have grabbed people, they're grabbing people who are undocumented, but they're also grabbing people who are here legally. And, in some cases, they have grabbed American citizens. And the more of them there are, and the more pressure there is on them to ramp up their numbers, I think the more such abuses we'll see. In New York City, where I live and I've spent time reporting, a lot of the immigration arrests are focused on the immigration courts. They're arresting people when they show up for their asylum hearings, even if judges ask people to come back for further proceedings, which I think shows the lie when the administration says that they're targeting the worst of the worst. I mean, these are people who are law-abiding by definition, or who at least are trying their best to follow the law of our immigration system.
You noted in your column, which I just found incredibly compelling, I immediately texted it to my executive producer. The resistance came out swinging in the first Trump administration, right, with the women's marches all over the country. But today, you use as an example of the resistance the story of Elizabeth Castillo. She's a working mom. She was not like overtly political. She voted. But then she saw what was happening to her neighbors and essentially just couldn't take it anymore. Tell us about her and what she started.
Well, sure. So I found her a kind of fascinating and inspiring person. And basically, you know, like you said, she's a mother of 5, very busy with her job and her kids, but she lives in Pasadena, just outside of LA. And when ICE came to her neighborhood, you know, she started seeing them take people away. They raided her building and took people away. She saw people were taken away from a nearby donut shop. And so at first, she just started sort of acting on her own. She got a megaphone. When she saw ICE vehicles in the neighborhood, she would follow them, shouting for people to get inside and honking her horn. She got up early and started patrolling her own apartment complex. Then she knocked on the door of the job center run by a group called the National Day Laborers Organizing Network. And they helped her with some of her neighbors set up what they call the Community Defense Corner. And so they have a canopy tent on a corner in a part of Pasadena with a lot of immigrants. And it's basically a kind of anti-ICE command center where they field tips, they hand out literature, know your rights literature, but also photographs of ICE agents and ICE vehicles that have been seen in the neighborhood, you know, with.
Vamos por partes. Un memo secreto obtenido por el New Republic revela que la administración de Trump ha estado presionando al Pentágono para que se involucre aún más en estos operativos migratorios dentro del país, no solo en la frontera. Están amigos comparando a bandas criminales con Al-Qaeda. Dicen que ciudades como Los Ángeles necesitan operativos militares por años y planean utilizar al ejército para supuestamente defender la patria, pero de su propia gente. ¿Les suena exagerado? Pues bueno, ya lo hicieron, recordemos. Enviaron marines a Los Ángeles durante las protestas y ahora quieren convertir eso en la nueva normalidad. Todo esto con la bendición del secretario de Defensa Pete Hegseth y su hermano Phil Hegseth. Para muchos el verdadero arquitecto de este plan. ¿Qué es lo que quieren lograr? Presionar al Pentágono para que de repente vean la migración como una amenaza de alta prioridad. Incluir al ejército en ICE. Convertir a ciudades santuarios en campos de batalla. Es más, incluso admitieron que lo que sucedió en Los Ángeles no fue perfecto, pero lo ven como un modelo a replicar. Un modelo, señores. Militares respondiendo a protestas ciudadanas como si fueran terroristas. Este memo lo dice todo. Quieren utilizar el lenguaje del miedo. Quieren comparar a migrantes con terroristas. ¿Todo esto para qué? Justificar una militarización brutal. Todo esto disfrazado de patriotismo. Pero ojo que no todo el mundo está feliz con esta fantasía militar. Porque mientras Trump quiere convertir al ejército en su patrulla personal, ICE ha estado robando agentes a los policías locales como si fueran fichajes del Real Madrid. Mandaron correos directo a sheriff para que colaboraran con ellos. Les ofrecieron hasta $50,000 en bonos, $60,000 en pagos de préstamos estudiantiles, solo para que dejen sus cargos y se vayan a trabajar directamente con ICE.
Recruits, and we actively recruit because we're working in an environment today where the majority of the people do not want to work in law enforcement. So the people who do this job are very, very special to us. So we're assisting ICE. Now understand, we're a force multiplier to help ICE, and we've been spending a lot of time and effort. And the next thing we know, the people who we have submitted to ICE, who have been ICE trained on our dime, by the way, received a direct email from the administration. In fact, from a Madison Sheehan, who is a deputy director, recruiting them. I mean, that's biting the hand that's feeding you. And I am angry. It tells me it lacks of professionalism. I mean, they speak. I've got this letter here when it says that, you know, we're committed to serving with integrity and professionalism. Well, I can tell you something. Madison clearly showed she has no integrity or no professionalism to actually directly email the people who work for us. Look, it's not the matter that they're trying to hire people. We are all trying to hire people. It's the way that they did it that makes me so very angry.
Well, we at NBC asked them to respond. We asked DHS to respond to concerns like yours. And the senior official didn't directly address those concerns. But I want to read part of what was written to us. ICE is recruiting law enforcement, veterans, and other patriots who want to serve their country and help remove gang members, child pedophiles, murderers, terrorists, and drug traffickers. I mean, you know, you read that, Sheriff, sounds good, right? Who doesn't want to get rid of gang members and pedophiles? But is that what you see happening?
Well, Chris, we're all doing that. And the reality is, if our local law enforcement officers wanted to work for the feds, the opportunity has been there for a long time. And the reality, to me, of all of this is not that they're recruiting, it's that they used our data that we submitted to them in order to complete the paperwork to talk directly to our people. And at the same time, they didn't send this out to the state level officers because they didn't want to make our Governor DeSantis mad. Governor DeSantis is leading the charge here. We are enforcing the rule of law. We're glad to help ICE. In fact, the local ICE supervisors in this state, our field office director, Garrett Ripa, is a good man, and we enjoy working with him. And he has personally, professionally told me, he said, Grady, I didn't know anything about this. I'll call Washington. He showed his displeasure with headquarters. But so Garrett Ripa has apologized, but still they double down and continue saying, yeah, we'll go directly at the people that have been trained. So, yes, that's why we're angry. And it's not just me. It's all of the Florida sheriffs. We've all had conversations about this.
Well, can I just tell you that there was a Florida police chief who responded to all of this saying these exact words to NBC. We just shot ourselves in the foot. And I wonder if, because we only have a minute left, what does this recruitment drive by ICE potentially mean for your force and the forces of the other sheriffs you just said you talked to? Are you worried that people might go? I mean, the enticements are pretty good.
Well, first and foremost, we all offer, most of us, we offer a recruiting bonus and we recruit. It's not the fact that they did it. It was the way they did it and that they used our professional data that we sent them. You know, Kristi Noem needs to put her big girl pants on and hold Madison accountable and say, hey, that's not professional. That's not how you treat your partners. You're causing us to lose the trust and respect of the force multipliers that's trying to help us in this mission. But still, it's crickets. The only people that pay any attention to us are our state ICE supervisors who are remarkably good, and we enjoy working with them. But it's time to show some leadership in Washington and say we can recruit, but to use government documents, government emails to talk directly to the deputies with government documents that was completed so that we can help them. That is not right. It's not professional. It is, it's Bush League work is what it is.
Y claro, los sheriff están furiosos. La Asociación Nacional de Sheriff exigen disculpas. Algunos, como el caso de Georgia, ya recibieron cartas de ICE pidiendo perdón. Pero otros están exigiendo que Kristi Noem dé la cara, que se ponga los pantalones y pida perdón. Y todo porque ICE quiere crecer más rápido de lo que la ley y la ética le permiten. Amigos, esto no es un operativo contra el crimen, esto es un experimento autoritario. Un gobierno que está militarizando a la policía, está robando oficiales locales, está sembrando el terror bajo la excusa de defender la patria. No hay que confundirse, no va solo de migración, va de control, de propaganda y del poder absoluto. Ya vimos este patrón muchísimas veces. Donald Trump inventa una crisis, la alimenta con el miedo y luego propone una solución brutal que termina poniendo en riesgo la libertad. ¿A ustedes les parece normal que el ejército vaya a patrullar sus barrios? ¿O que ICE robe policías locales como si fueran soldados privados? Los invito a que me dejen sus opiniones en la caja de comentarios. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarme hasta el final de este video. Recuerda, dale like, comparte el contenido y suscríbete a nuestro canal. Políticamente en Desacuerdo. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.